that's me. Still a student, look great. It's a short bio. I come from Bangladesh, which is my undergrad and master's. PhD got from UNC Charlotte back in 2018, almost 5 years gone. I work for Capri. Aspen Technology is the biggest, probably one of the biggest software company for oil and gas industries, big players. And power company Bangladesh does the transmission network monopoly business for Mahfuz. And then on 7 years experience in various things. And I work across 3 continents. I was in Germany, I was in Asia, of course, and now I'm in North America. Now I lead the electric vehicle forecasting model in Eversource. Basically, what that means is Eversource is basically a company, short bio for the company as well, is the largest energy delivery system operator in the New England region. Except New York and New Jersey, we serve Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New Hampshire. We do not own any generation. That means the second point, non-vertical, meaning no generation. We only operate transmission and distribution network. And we have the largest one in the New England. It's a stock listed company, New York Stock Exchange, Fortune 500, S&P 500 list. We serve around 4.4 million customers. Our biggest business is electric industry, basically electricity, then gas, and then a few communities we supply water. Number of employees around 10,000. It's a big company, 3 states, lots to handle, right? And basically there are 2 things you can take a picture of it, or I can play that. The first one is the company portfolio, what we do, and things like that. Number 2 is job. Everyone loves to take a look at that. The career center, I think last night I checked, we have around 285 open positions. You might land 1 or 2 that you get interested in. All right, so let me know if you are interested in. Probably I might give you a good amount of all the rewards and reference if you did that job. All right, Mahfuz is the name. Just in case you missed it, that's me. All right, why are we saying this? Because we need people. We want to hire, and we are aggressively hiring. To be honest, as I said, 285 jobs, technicians all the way from technicians to director to VP. So lots of opportunities there. But as I understood from the previous discussion, not a lot of people have a background of electrical engineering, right? So this is the basic understanding of like 101. What is an electric grid? Electric grid consists at the top, we have the generation, it can be solar, it can be wind, energy storage, nuclear, then gas plant, and hydro. The second layer is transmission, big steel towers basically. They carry the lines, higher voltage level, and then it goes to substation to step down to go to the distribution. Basically, 2 sides of distribution, primary and secondary. Secondary distribution is basically your outlet, like there, 120 volts. And we have electric vehicle charging network. After that, you run your AC, you run your washer dryer, you run basically everything. And probably if you are an EV owner, you probably charge your car at home. Tesla, right? There are 111 electric vehicles model out there. So probably there is a good chance if you own an EV, probably you want to charge at home. That's 101 of electric vehicles. We do not own any generation, so top level is gone. The second and third level, we operate the transmission networks and we take care of our customers. How many? 4.4 million. Business model, how do we make money? We are a regulated company. Basically meaning, if you ask for a utility connection, basically electric connection at your house, you call your local utility and say, hey, can you connect me like 5 kilowatts of load? I say, yeah, sure. Let me connect your nearest transformer. And you get that transformer 5 kW load allocated to you. Okay? And then I say, well, I will charge you 15 cents or 20 cents in kilowatt hour, that's like 1 unit of electricity, and I will charge you probably like 15 cents or 21 cents a set. Who sets that rate? The answer is regulators. Basically, state officials, federal officials, FARC means federal government, they set the transmission rates. The local state governors and others need to give you Public Utility Commission, they set the rate for distribution that you pay to us, Eversource. So this says that, and there is a very dynamic synergy here that goes how you set that rate. For us, it should be reasonable, but may not be the least cost. You say, I can take power probably like 10 cents cheaper. Well, you go to other utility then because they can't serve you 10 cents. You have to pay 15 cents. And then you say to the regulator, hey, Eversource is charging me 5 cents more. What should we do? So that's the case. Provide feedback to the regulator, the customer, and the regulator says, well, I'll make sure you have a fair rate. How much rate? That's the rate case question. That's the economics question. There are a lot of things. But utility has to justify why we are charging that 15 cents to you. That's our obligation. And every 3 or 5 years, for a hectic 90 days, we go through this process for rate case adjustment. It's more of a political issue than a technical one. But you have to understand how it gets set.
So just to understand what services you're providing, you're saying that you might be charging a higher rate, but
we'd like to charge high.
You're guaranteeing that the service is going to be better in some sense.
No, not better.
So do all companies, do all providers have the same rate?
Yeah.
So why
not every provider has the same rate. Depends on their asset and calculation. They all go through the same process with the regulator called rate case.
So what does make your company more like favorable than others? Like what are you selling that is making Eversource a better provider? That's what.
Because you basically have no choice other than come to us. We are monopoly.
Yeah, I was in Massachusetts for 2 years and I.
If you are in Massachusetts,
I see.
come on with me. Alright? So you have to come to me and I'm going to charge you more and you're going to call the regulator and say, no, don't charge me more. And the regulator is going to slam our face and say, hey, why are you charging that 15 cents more?
It makes sense now.
Yeah, so an equity customer, yeah, always. it's a good thing you pay for the service and sometimes when the storm comes, your lights is off for 3 days. Sorry, there's a storm and we are working very diligently to get your service restored. So you understand the business model? How you gonna pay for utility and how the regulator sets the price? We are just the transmission infrastructure, distribution infrastructure, but everything is set between regulator and customer. The question is, how do we make profit? We do not make profit on you. Your rate base serves our basic needs to run the company, to run the payroll. But the company to make a profit, we go to the regulator and approve for projects, infrastructures. If we build a new substation, if we build a new network tower, we go to the regulator and say, well, we undertook this opportunity and everything, we are building a substation and we need a profit section of that. And they are going to approve that, okay, you can make this amount of profit. That's how the company makes profit. All right? Now the challenge. I work for EV, so I can definitely talk about EV here. You see, there are level 1, level 2, level 3 chargers. Level 3 is basically your premium gas, the highest cost gas. Level 2 is like, Supreme or maybe the second grade gas. The first one is, you can charge. But look at the kilowatts. The level 1 has 1.9 kW up to. The level 2 has 19.2, almost 20 kW. Level 3 TCS, the highest charger, goes to 90 kW. It can go to even megawatt. Well, the question is, when there are a lot of EVs, last year it was 1.3 million EVs on US, on the road, vehicle in operation. Question is, these are all new loads, right? There was no EV and no EV charging concept, right? It recently surged. So there is a new wave of load coming to the grid and we must serve it because by law, we cannot say, hey, we cannot serve you. We cannot send you a customer space. We cannot serve you. By law, we have to serve you the electricity you need. So we have to plan for this, right? The new load, how we're going to serve this new load. If I take the rough assumption that 1 million electric vehicles will be charged at home and everyone will charge at 2 kW. So you do the math, 2 kW times 1 million. How much megawatt is going to add to our system? And now here is the supply constraint, right? The thing is, a substation or a transmission or a distribution line has some fixed thermal capability to pass the electricity on, right? So for example, a substation may have only 25 megawatts of capacity. And for 100 years, we have used almost 50% of that. So 25 megawatt, 50% of that, 12.5 megawatt. So we have 50% capacity left. And now all the cars, rough estimate of 2 kW times 1 million, they are going to charge, and let's say they are all in that substation. And the substation can no longer provide you the electricity. What do? You upgrade the substation, you increase your capacity, right? And that's the project, right? Substation project. Question is, how do you know that all the cars will be charged at that substation? What is the probability of that? Or even if you have 1.1 million, how many cars are charged in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New Hampshire in our service territory? How do you know when they are going to charge? How do you know which level they are using? How do you know what time they are charging their car? Is it at night? Day? If it is a federal holiday, would you charge this car? Probably yes, probably no. Are you only charging at home, or are you charging at your workplace, or when you are at the interstate, maybe at rest stop? So to charge those cars, how many chargers need to be installed? And for those chargers, how much money do you need to go for the capital cost? Question, right? All the uncertainties and questions here. So that's one of the key challenges that all of the utility industry in the US are now facing. We were not ready for this wave. We didn't ask the battery or car manufacturers to provide more EVs. It was policy. It was funding for the federal government. It was funding for the state government to provide a sustainable future for our kids. No one wants to go for carbon anymore. Everyone wants to electrify. No one wants dirty fuel. Everyone wants to electrify. It's not only your car, it's your home. It's basically everything. It's a race to electrify everything in America. And by policy, I can say Massachusetts policy, by 2050, the year, everyone should have an electric car. Now the question is, if everyone has an electric car by 2050, how much load is going to add 27 years from now? Estimate, right? Forecast. That's the challenge that I was talking about. How likely it is to get EV? As I said, last year, based on sales data, we have 1.1 million vehicle in operation electric vehicle on road in US. Let's say 5% of that are in our service territory, 3 states. The question is, where the vehicles are going? I don't know. There is a temporal uncertainty here. Right? And the first one, adoption, there is a demographic divergence here. If you have money, hey, I'm a millionaire, I want to buy a Cybertruck for 100K. No problem for me. I need to know where you are going to charge that Cybertruck. So it's a demographic thing, right? So one of your input is demographic. In that zip code or in that particular locality, is that a very rich area, very rich neighborhood? Probably yes. So maybe there's a probability that people are going to buy EV because it's always happened, hey, the guy next door bought an EV. I want to buy an EV too. Otherwise, their social status will degrade. How much car will be there in that neighborhood? So there is a demographic aspect to it as well. Last one, when and where can EVs charge? That's the most important question for us. We have no idea. That's why we need you. You're going to tell us the future, what happens in 2050 for electric US grid. Machine learning, AI, data visualization. What's happening there? Let's move on. Forecasting is easy. Take it as a comic relief after all of these uncertainty related questions. Take it as a comic relief. Forecasting is easy with a stone. Stone is gone. What happened? Storm. Well, someone might have stolen it. Right? The last one. Stone gone. Tornado. Wow. The only problem with this, it doesn't give you any objective numbers. It talks about subjective. We need numbers. We need to quantify those numbers. Now your job as a data scientist, machine learning engineer, whatever you call yourself, quantify those uncertainty, give those insights from the data we have, and tell me what happens in 2050. And feed that to the regulator so that we can earn more money. You see the business model I'm talking about? Let's move on. Very simple thing. Very simple. We have a data warehouse that talks to Databricks because these are big data, so you might need some cluster. And then at the Power BI, you just visualize. And all of our data, we are a legacy company. Our database are 100 years old. And we are still writing Fortran code. Don't you ever think to change that Fortran code because it will just gonna collapse. That's the problem with the legacy code structure. We are in business for over 150 years. What do you think? You're gonna come and make a new company out of it? No way. Sorry. So be comfortable to write Fortran codes, even some primitive C language. Python, yeah, very, very new, very good language to say, but well, it is what it is. Power BI, yeah, you might work. All of our database can be connected to this, and most of the files, I kid you not, most of the files are in CSV. So now your job is to come in Eversource and basically say, well, I can automate this, I can make a pipeline, I can do all for you, and I can answer your uncertainty questions, and I can testify under oath or in front of the Senate or state regulators that the analysis that I have done is 100% perfect, and that's why the rates are justified. We have done 2 or 3 things, not much. 2 or 3 things. The left one shows the light-duty electric vehicle forecast in Massachusetts, and by 2050 is going to be 100% electric, right? Who can tell me what kind of a curve is that? The left side. There's a lot of dots. What's the shape of this curve? Is it like an English letter? S. Can you find the S pattern? S. This one? Not the good S. Maybe a tilted S, but S. We did it with the help of logistic regression. And we basically figured out from the registration data, if everything goes right, we have all the funding and all the policy, how much is gonna go electrified. So there's your machine learning. One of the regression analysis has been done here and compared with the exponential analysis. Simple regression.
To generate this regression, do you use, you talked about learning programs, do you use Python to generate this?
Yeah, Databricks and Python, yes. And the right-hand side is basically a load profile. Every 15 minutes, what will be the peak value, or what will be the kilowatt that will be added to our distribution system in Cambridge. Because Cambridge has a more aggressive goal. By 2035, they want to electrify. MIT, Harvard, all are basically sounding Eversource and saying, hey, I want to electrify 15 years earlier than the state of Massachusetts. What can you do? And we are running our electric vehicles and everything, so please give us the demand or kilowatt that goes to that Cambridge City. So that's basically saying, well, if you want to all go electrify, you're going to add at the peak time almost 80 megawatts of load just in the city of Cambridge. And that will happen in the morning when everyone goes to that office, like 7:38. 80 megawatts just from the EV. Now, if you say I want to electrify with heat pumps, God bless us. We don't, in Cambridge, we have just 2 megawatt of capacity left. 2 megawatts. Now, here's the thing. You buy something with 2.1 megawatt, you turn it on, and the transformer, what happens to the transformer? Boom. It's a very critical balance. We walk on a very thin line. So we have to track all the load growth that's happening. And this is one of the dashboard that shows the load growth in, well, almost all our service territories. The bigger the bubble, the higher the load. And on the right-hand side, we have a bulk substation. The smaller the circle, the lesser the capacity remaining. So you see the projection of load growth is basically very high with all the big bubbles on the left. On the right, our substations are all working in near capacity. All right, that's all. And there are lots of things I can talk about and all the regulators. But this is a very interesting topic. We are not FangMang. We are not Facebook, Amazon. But what we do, we keep your lights on. And this is a very rewarding career. For sure. So think about it. If you're interested, go to that link, number 2, and basically apply. And give me a reference. Good for you, good for me as well. Questions?
So if I understand correctly, you are focusing more on the data analytics side of it, like taking, like understanding where you're gonna provide the
Yes.
chargers.
Yes. So we're basically trying to prioritize which cities are going to go electrified first. For example, Cambridge already told us they're going to electrify. So that's one of the concerns that are we able to do it? If we are, then where's going to be the price? What's going to be the capital cost? So there is a capital cost thing recommendation. Where should we go first? Where the load growth is happening? Maybe in Stony Brook there is not much load growth. But maybe in Manhattan, millionaires are buying EVs. So we might change a transformer or substation or upgrade or anything. One of the things that happened is under Biden administration, huge funding. We got like billion dollars of funding to install EV chargers. And there is a project currently going on, and that's why we are all on the run. It's called NEVI, National EV Infrastructure. That basically says all of your interstate, I-95, I-90, whatever you can name, from east to west coast, every 50 miles, 50 miles, there is an EV charger at least 4 by 150 kW. That's adding 600 kW. That basically means if you have an eastbound, westbound, northbound, southbound, that means 2 of the race stops combining, right? Double. 600 kW times 2 is 1.2 megawatt. US is a very big country. 1.2 megawatt for every 50 miles, that's going to add a tremendous load to our system. And it's funded and fueled by the government funding. 7.5 billion, the investment for this. And the last one I want to mention before I finish is there's more. There's more coming, more funding. You'll never be out of your job. No one is going to fire you. No one is going to fire you. We're a very stable situation. There is a non-profit organization that estimated renewable energy and energy industry, not the software, the energy industry added 100,000 jobs in the year of 2022. More than Silicon Valley could imagine. Any more questions? No? All right. Thank you so much for having me.